Well, here I am on a glorious day up on the hill here. As you can see, it's a great place to have a look and see down there, see what the neighbours are doing down in the valley there. It's always a bit of a difficult one because obviously there's easier land down there, but here we are up on the hill, and I discovered a couple of cattle had gone missing. There's plenty of food up here, but and I feed them up here every day, but they'd gone out. Now, it's unusual for a beast, I ain't got anything wrong with it, to go out over a fence, especially when there's this nice green stuff about the place, and I'm feeding them up here every day anyway. But they'd gone out over that bit of fence there. You can see I've effected a temporary repair with a bit of baler twine there, pulling all those posts back up, but they pushed those posts down and they'd gone out over that there, which is unusual. They're going away from where they got food and where they're getting fed. And it turns out they were bulling. They were, you know, particularly hormonal state, and that's fine. They came back, and that's it. But it's a bit of a little parable, really, of the sort of thing that's been happening with a few people during the lockdown period here with the COVID-19 epidemic. You see, the thing is, with your sheep, with your cows, certainly ours, they tend to know your voice, and they come, and there's a reason for that. They've learned over time that where they hear your voice, they get fed. They get fed, and food's the big deal. And that's the bottom line. Where they know they get fed, where they hear your voice, then they come to you. And in this COVID job, it's been a bit concerning because we've seen people finding it easy. We've been in lockdown, you can't go out, you certainly can't meet together as a church. And that's been a bit of a problem. We've got out of our usual habits, and we haven't come together. We haven't come to hear God speaking to us through his word, yeah, it's been easy to just take it easy, go slack, lie back. We've had every reason to not be stimulated and not be encouraged to grow in the faith, to get the food and grow. Food comes from an open book, the Bible. Food comes from having it opened up and explained to us. Food comes from one another, speaking with one another and chatting with one another about our current experience and where we stand with it in terms of our prayer lives, our Bible reading, our walk with God, encouraging one another in the way. Now it's peak bracken season on this bit of hill at the moment, and you can see the bit of bracken about, and we're going to have to attend to that. But there's an awful lot to eat there, and if you go across here where they got out to, and this is the trouble, they got out into that. I mean, look at that. That's fodder for nothing. That's habitat for nothing very much worthwhile at all. There's nothing there for them. And the trouble with that is you don't want them out there. They could eat all sorts of toxic stuff that isn't going to be any good for them. And they get pretty hungry and get all scratched up in the bushes and everything as well. They come to harm because they've wandered off into a place where there isn't nourishment, there isn't food. It's pretty barren, and they get in all scratched up and hurt. So as a working pastor, that's my worry for people at this particular time. We've been in COVID for a long time, and unless people are maintaining their walk with God and feeding their souls with his word and with relationship with him and fellowship with him in prayer and fellowship with his people to encourage us and stimulate us, then you're going to be wandering off to a place where there's no food, and you're going to get thinner and thinner, and the ultimate end of that is not so good at all. See, it's not as if there isn't adequate provision made. In this technological age, this age when there's plenty of books about, easily get hold of a Bible in our part of the world anyway, there's plenty to be chewing on and plenty to be growing on and going forward with. And as with animals, as with people, spiritually as well as physically, unless you're growing, there's a sign there's something wrong and you're not thriving, you're not getting forward. We need to grow in the faith, and that's the provision God's made for us in his word, in fellowship, however we can get it. It's not easy at the moment. It's online or it's down the telephone or whatever, but we've got to stick to it. So you might say to me, hang on, so I come on brass tacks now, how am I going to do this feeding myself business? Well, here's some practical suggestions. Get hold of a New Testament. You can sometimes get in with Psalms in as well. Get hold of one of them. Throw it open, have a read. Pray first, Lord, please speak to me out of your word. And then have a listen. See what he's got to say. And yeah, why not? Go to your church's website. See what they put up there for you to feed your soul during COVID times. If that's not coming up with anything that's of use to you, www.yrgroup.com. Website address coming up fairly shortly. Have a look there. It'll link you through to our YouTube resources, our podcast, and you can request there to get our do-it-yourself Sunday service kit, where you'll have all sorts of things that'll help you and encourage you in your walk with God. It's a great way to live. It's a great way to go through life, because life's got its challenges. It's a great way to make yourself strong, well-fed, and vigorous spiritually. And remember, when the times are challenging, when the times are tough, and they are a bit at the moment, that's not the time to start not feeding your soul, not making yourself weak. Make yourself strong so you can contend with and deal with all the issues that life's throwing up at the moment. God bless you.